Hey, brass facts here. Electronic hearing protection. Why did I say it like that? Electronic Ear Pro. You need it. Hearing protection because, we'd like to have a conversation after we go shooting, and we don't want a perpetual visit by the little snail in our ear. And electronic because we'd like to have conversations while we're shooting. So, that's what we're going to go talk about today. A bunch of different electronic hearing protections, from the cheap to the ultra Gucci and everything in between, and perhaps why we might actually be barking up the wrong tree when we're looking at something like, say, a pair of Contact 3s.
I bought every single one of these outright with my own money over the course of almost 10 years, so I'm going to go ahead and throw some affiliate links down below. Forgive me, patron saint of non-shillery focus trip.
Let's actually get into it. The most prolific electronic hearing pro on the market has to be the Howard Leight Impact Sports or the Walker Razors. Back when I was getting into firearms in 2013, these things were like, Coke versus Pepsi or something, with violent hardlining and ride or die attitude about which one was actually the best, probably based on whichever one you bought first. On that note, I think the Howard Leights are far better, and if you buy Walkers, you're a piece of shit. I've run the Howard Leights for longer than most of you have been able to drink, and I implore you, go ahead and buy the ear gel cup replacements. Both of these come with your standard stiff plastic padding to help seal these things to your ear holes. Not only is it quite uncomfortable over long periods, but any bump, nudge, or even just wearing glasses will break the seal, causing substantial loss to the already very lackluster noise reduction rating.
The gel cups offer a solution to a number of these issues, while on top of that just being significantly more comfortable, as they offer a large amount of standoff from your actual ear to the device, such that it doesn't press hard against it all day long, which tends to be kind of uncomfortable, and honestly, for that alone, I would recommend buying these. But at the end of the day, these are budget electronic hearing protection, so yeah, even with the gel cups, though they certainly do help on the hearing protection front, don't do much for the fact that these things kind of sound like crap. If you were part of the generation that was #blessed to grow up with Xbox Live, it kind of sounds a lot like that. The speaker amplification tends to over-exaggerate and peak a lot of times, especially if you talk loud or you move aggressively, and the ruffling of your clothes sounds like a bag of Lay's chips, and your voice is distorted enough that you can recognize it as something else other than your own voice. You almost are hearing double. But hey, these are really cheap, and some electronic ear pro is better than no electronic ear pro, so you don't have to relive every single scene out of Black Hawk Down.
What? If the audio clarity really bugs you, as it did me, you can grab something like the 3M Peltor Tactical Sports Ear Pro. What a mouthful. They sound way better. Noise reduction is also slightly better, although this info may be a bit out of date. I'm not convinced these are produced widely anymore, at least, on Amazon. There does seem to be a version 2, but I don't have any experience with that.
This video was made possible by Blue Alpha. I've been training for the last couple months to get myself back into USPSA matches, which at some point made me realize that perhaps pocket reloads weren't the best idea, so back to actual belt line reloads. So out of storage comes my Blue Alpha belt that I actually have owned for a good bit before my sponsorship with Blue Alpha. Well, I do need to do a video on belts at some point. Belt Hater 9000 here has somehow bought 3 separate battle belts for some reason, and is surprisingly enjoying his time with them more than he'd thought. I find the Blue Alpha belt specifically excels at being very simplistic, while also somehow being both lightweight and rugged, without needing to rely on overexposed Tigris to achieve this, which I really appreciate. Head over to Blue Alpha, to be sure, Blue Alpha, not Blue Force gear, don't worry, happens to the best of us, and go get yourself a battle belt.
So, you know how you can instantly tell if someone is a lesbian if they own a Subaru Forester? Stanley cups instantly indicate you're dealing with a white basic bitch, probably Mormon. Skinny jeans, flannel, and glasses are for those that go to the climbing gym to meet girls exclusively. And anyone that substitutes their personality for white monster worship are gym bros.
Yeah, contacts or amps being worn with the down lead permanently wrapped up are a telltale sign of tactical, fashionista Instagram goon bros. As universally, none of them actually own comms that interface with the TP120 down lead, so I'm pretty sure they just bought a tactical headset because it looks cool on the internet. Or in person, I don't know.
Right here, this L-can, this is a $1,400 riser, just so I can use this incredibly bad parallaxed RMR. No!
Okay, what the fuck are we talking about? Oh yeah, Contact 3s. Probably the most visually distinctive ear pro on the market. Everyone's got them, everyone wants them. They come with an aggressive uptick in audio clarity even compared to 3M Peltors I just mentioned. Amplification is far more robust with a barely noticeable reverb from your own voice. Your clothes no longer sounds like they're made out of aluminum foil. You do notice some dampening effect, but it is mostly subtle, and it's very easy to forget you're actually listening through something that provides noise reduction. The only downside, Comtacs, even with the gel cups, don't have particularly impressive noise reduction rating, about on par with our Howard Leights. Indoors, doubling up isn't just recommended, it's required. I would not be surprised if a notable percentage of whatever hearing damage I have is from Comtacs and filming someone with an M1 Sherman brake on the end of their gut. If you shell out a little bit more cash, you can add the number 2 to the end of the Comtac and now have Comtac 5s. That joke does not work. While the NRR is not much better, it sounds way better. To the point where if you're laser focused on the audio quality, it's sometimes hard to tell you're listening through what is essentially a speaker. And that previous dampening effect, well, it's absent. It almost sounds like you're just listening as if you didn't have earpro on.
But the namesake and the primary reason you should be buying one of these is that they have a downlead for radio, both ear audio transmission so you can hear over the sound of gunshots, and a microphone. All of which is very important if you intend to use comms in a sort of quote-unquote tactical environment with the sound of gunshots and more. Or perhaps more relevantly, so you control the fuck out of your boys, or at least make dick jokes over the airwaves.
Okay, thanks. Okay, thank you. God, Gates better be fucking getting stabbed to death right now.
So, despite, if I had to guess, totally made this up, 50% of the population that buy Comtacs not actually needing the comms capability, it actually ends up still being a pretty decent buy. Significantly more comfortable, comes with the gel caps, and a noticeable uptick in audio clarity. It's kind of a no-brainer to buy these when these are $400, $300, sometimes even $200 on places like TaxSwap.
Turns out the very low price tag of these Comtacs were driven by the fact that they were all probably stolen government property and imported into the used market in huge quantities, keeping their price low. The supply, unfortunately, for these has completely dried up as of, roughly speaking, a year and a half ago, and their price is going up, and up, and their availability is going down, and down. It's at the point where good luck finding a pair of Contact 3s for anything, under $500. And even when you do find them for a decent price, typically you're going to want to be very careful because they're going to be weird. They're going to have weird downleads. They're going to be beat to shit. The microphone is going to be broken. Maybe the plug port is fucked up, or maybe they're dual lead. Even if you look at Contact 5s, which are a little bit more present on the used market at this time, though also very clearly drying up, you'll find that they're kind of really expensive, $500, $600. And at that point, for what is essentially a plastic Fisher-Price housing, some gel that approximates sex toys, combined with a PCB board and a microphone, I would just buy the whole thing new. Well, how much are they new? Unfortunately, they're about $800. Which is way more expensive than where we started this video at about $300 to $400. And at that point, I really begin to question the point of buying electronic hearing protection, especially if you don't actually need the comms capability.
The competitive market doesn't really offer much salvation for us here either. Hop has been trying the noise barrier tax, which seemed perfectly fine when I tried them, good even. Right up until I saw that price tag, which, like I said, I guess this is the new normal. The Safariland Liberators follow a similar trend. Close to $500 for a tactical headset without a mic or downlead. Shit, I thought gamer chairs were overpriced. This actually circles us back to, well, the Howard Leights and Razors as the budget go-to option. As the used gray market has dried up, the upgrades for these things have flourished over the years. Like with the Comtacs, these can be easily head-mounted by just buying the arc rail adapter. Only difference is it's a permanent change here, unlike with the Peltors, which you can kind of just rotate them and it detaches from the kind of, what do you even call that, the metal prongs? Here you actually need to snip them so you can put the new ones in. The 3.5mm ports on the back of these things mean you can pipe these straight into something like a Baofeng PTT, which is actually what I did for the better part of half a decade, checking that comms box. But here's the thing, that setup, especially when you use the Baofeng PTT, sounds like complete garbage to anyone else that's listening. So if you want to take it a step further, you can send your Razors or Howard Leights to Warden Studio, $150, a pretty damn quick turnaround time and support, and they'll retrofit your existing device to include an actual microphone up front. And because Howard Leight and Razor have a female port on the rear, we can run a number of different down leads without having to play adapter Tetris. You want 3.5mm? That's what it ships with. You want TP120? You can buy one of those on Warden's websites. And shit, I don't even know what this is for, but you can actually adapt this to USB-C. The world is your oyster. The microphone also fully rotates out of the way, and the down lead can just be removed, which is actually really refreshing compared to Comtacs, where most of the time where you're wearing earpro, you're not actually using comms, and you end up playing a permanent game of trying to wrangle that stupid fucking down lead and preventing the mic boom from giving you an unsolicited deep throat mid-shooting drill. If we price all of that out, $60 for the headset, $150 for the retrofit and microphone, $20 for the gel cups, we're right around $230, maybe $260 with shipping and tax. And if we girl math it and assume you already own the Howard Leights or Razors, so that part doesn't count, we're under $200. Most people are going to say, that's way too expensive for some budget. Yeah, well, whatever. This is post-COVID America. You got to reset your price expectations. You can't get a comms-capable headset for under $500 anymore. At least not consistently. Every once in a while, you're able to find.
That being said, if you don't have the ability or regularly use tactical hearing protection for their comms capability, I think we're entirely barking up the wrong tree. Yeah, it made sense back in the day to get an over-the-ear earpro when the over-the-ear earpro was top of the line and $300. But now that these are priced at the, well, actual correct pricing, I think none of this really makes all that much sense. On top of coming with a lot of features that most of you guys don't need, over-the-ear hearing protection is actually not all that comfortable. It kind of creates this sort of clamping force, which gives you, headphone headache. The actual headphones don't tend to play, even with the gel cups, all that nice with iPro. And in the winter, it's very hard to wear something like a hat to keep your head warm. And in the summer, it turns your little ear holes into misery saunas. I posit to you, and that's the title of the video, that the age of the tactical over-the-ear headsets for those not using comms is kind of over. There are much better buys, specifically in-ear electronic hearing protection that checks the box much more effectively while being more comfortable and in a lot of ways a lot more cheap. So I've tried two brands of electronic in-ear hearing protection. The first of which is these Axils G Extreme 2.0, which to be sure, you like me have probably been bombarded with ads for these. So I got curious and went out and bought some myself, and they're alright. And by alright, I mean they're exactly what you pay for. I mean, obviously I'm spoiled with some nicer electronic hearing protection, but this is about the bottom of the barrel in terms of actual audio fidelity and, noise amplification. Of course it is, after all. It's the quality and price tag of Howard Leights, but now they're mashed down into an even smaller device.
They have all the weird noise quirks of Razors and Howard Leights, but it's dialed up a couple levels with an extra layer of what I can only describe as vibrations attached to the reverb of your own voice, even when speaking somewhat softly. They do come with Bluetooth, so you can listen to a deep-fried version of all your favorite bops, I guess. The audio issue is mostly tolerable at a price point of about $100 to $130. Yes, the thing, says $200 on it, but that's marketing bait bullshit. I've never seen these actually go for $200. My bigger issue is the cable that kind of connects both of the things tends to snag on everything, breaking the seal of your ear protection.
Dude, I'm gonna get hearing damage with these fucking Axils. Oh my god! Wow, I'm not enjoying using these Axils.
It's fine when you're shooting with a handgun, but as soon as you get a rifle stock involved or you're wearing any amount of cold weather gear, frankly, you just move your head too fast, the issue seems to present itself. Luke from TFB runs one of these and he has no issues, so this might be a case of Brassvax's skill issue, or maybe my ear holes are a tad too big. Regardless, I'd go with the wireless variant. It's just so much nicer. They're still suffering from really mediocre audio quality, and it turns your voice into reverb budget Darth Vader, but at least you're not mistakenly blowing out your eardrums. The astute of you will probably notice I've been running a certain set of in-ears for the better part of almost 2 years now. Take the form factor of those wireless Axils, add the audio clarity of the Contact 5s, smoosh them into one, and you get the audio noise barriers in ear. Unlike everything else thus far, these only have 2 audio settings, low and high, but really, that's all you need. On the low, you can't hear your own voice at all, and everything sounds very good, but there is still a bit of a muffling compared to normal hearing levels. You can tell you have a little bit of hearing protection in. On the higher settings, you can now hear your voice ever so slightly, but you are rewarded with crystal clear, superhuman hearing well in excess of anything mentioned thus far. You know those videos where they clean some dude's ear and a shitload of earwax comes out and all the comments are like, motherfucker can hear color now, right? That's what it sounds like to put these in. Like, you can hear straight past the earpro. There is no indication that there's any sort of dampening effect. And there is a lot of dampening effect. These claim to have a noise reduction rating of about 40 decibels, which is insane and probably a bit generous, but it's certainly better than anything else on this list. I've actually used these on an indoor shooting range, and it wasn't amazing, but it was certainly better than wearing anything else. The capacity on the earbuds themselves is actually quite good. I've never run out of battery on these things during a single shooting session. And as long as you return it back to the case, that'll be the case for you as well. There are a couple downsides though. One of which is that the earbuds tend to enter a feedback loop when you're using one of the lesser earpieces. In fact, I would argue you should just go ahead and buy the slightly nicer OEM ones, which prevent the feedback issue from happening entirely. In fact, they should just ship it with that one. They've already fleeced you enough. The warranty is a bit meh. Mine actually broke, and I got really lucky that I was basically like 1 month out from my warranty running out. If it did run out, I'd be charged $150 per broken earbud. And finally, after all of that, these are stupid fuck expensive at $500. So understandably, I really only recommend these for those that shoot a lot, or for those that were already planning on ponying up for a base pair of, say, Contact 5s or Liberators, you know, the ones without comms, as those are the same price as this, but actually kind of have a form factor that I don't think is ideal. For everyone else, the lackluster warranty and the cost DQs this from being a good purchase. So, yep, that's the shtick. No real perfect solution at this time, and even the good solutions leave a lot to be desired. But hopefully I've provided you some information today about some of the options on the market, so you can kind of just take all that and just say, yeah, I'm sticking with Walker razors anyway. So, yeah, well, at least you're more informed now. Okay, thanks for watching. This one's surprisingly long for a video about electronic ear pro. I don't know. Okay, see you guys later.
Socko's trying to be sold. Socko, that's the picture mat. Socko, don't get sold. It's a life of slavery. Or maybe Socko is the slave driver. Don't lick your balls. Let me help you out here. There you go. What a majestic shithead. Why does it look like you have a zip tie for collar? Is it heretical to have Socko footage on the channel?